Hello, I'm Todd Slisher. I'm the Executive Director of Sloan Museum and Longway Planetarium, and I'm going to be giving you a little tour around the construction site of the Sloan Museum of Discovery. We're going to take a look first at the exterior, and then we're going to go to some of the interior spots. So, as you can see, the Sloan Museum of Discovery is starting to resemble the picture that we just saw of the exterior area. The main staircase up from the parking lot has now been built, and the entryway from the parking lot is there. The bump out, which will house the Hellcat tank and the history of Flint during wartime, is there. The auto gallery is facing the parking lot. That's what you're looking at the exterior right there, and it's almost complete. And on the other side of the building, here's the rendering as you would see it from Kearsley Street, standing looking at the building. It's looking very similar as well. As you can see, we've got the main front entrance and the entrance facing Kearsley Street pictured here, and the windows have been knocked out in the interior. These are the doors that you would enter if you're walking in from the sidewalk facing Kearsley Street. Further on down the building, or no, this is the front lobby area. This is where you would walk in if you were coming across the park from the Whiting. And then further on down the building, we have a bump out that's part of the early childhood gallery. That will be a park setting. And you'll probably notice on the building there are these stripes all the way down. That's not what the exterior will look like. Those are support beams for panels that will be put on the exterior of the building to give it a finished look and feel. Now let's go on the inside, and we're going to start out looking at some of our kind of front house spaces. We'll start with the museum store and the circulation corridor, walking in from the parking lot. This area you can see is nice and bright, lots of windows, and looking back on down from the lobby area, it stretches on down to the doors that face the parking lot, and so that's the way you'll come in the building there. As we see a rendering of this space, you can see the museum store is all glassed in, and you'll be walking in towards the front lobby. Speaking of the front lobby, let's go ahead and look at that space. So we're going to zoom on in and look at the construction happening in the front lobby. What we see in here is big, high ceilings that you're able to look at. Lots of light coming in from the glass windows up front. A little framed-in coat room there, and you can see those glass windows. But what I love about this space is the drama and the high ceilings that we've got in this space. Here's a view looking into the lobby into the exhibit galleries. And here's how it'll look when it's finished. Now let's go to the area just down from the lobby, which is the cafe space that you see on the map. We'll take a look at how the cafe is coming along. Here's a view from the lobby into the cafe space, and then here's interior of the eating area of the cafe, and then kind of down the hallway towards the lobby space again, and then the back of house spaces of the cafe. It'll actually be a coffee beanery franchise cafe if you're familiar with those. As we look at some of the exhibit galleries, we're going to dive into Discovery Hall first. That space is big and high and open. It used to be part of the courtyard of the building, and so it has about 21-foot high ceilings that'll be filled to the brim with exhibits. And one of the things about this space that I loved to see when I was just in the building is they've actually started painting the walls. So we're getting pretty far along in this space. This is another angle of Discovery Hall, a rendering of that space as you look into it. As we move along, we're going to be looking at the area within Discovery Hall. This is called the Maker's Lab. It's a making and tinkering space. So it's kind of a room that's set inside the larger hall, and it includes a tool shop and a paint booth and all sorts of other areas for creative projects. So, and here's the interior of that maker's space as you would see it from a rendering. And another view of it from the exterior, although that opening has actually been closed up now in its glass. All right, now we'll dive into the next space here that we're going to highlight, which is our history galleries. We have a couple of views of the history gallery space. It's a rather long space throughout the building. This is an area looking back towards the front of the History Gallery, and you can see here is that bump out for the Hellcat tank from the inside. If we look down the corridor of the History Galleries, you'll notice they'll get a lot of the drywall done. And kind of marching down the space, this is actually facing towards where the Native American space would be. This is a space that's more kind of the carriage to car stories where that'll be. And this is a space looking into the Vehicle City Gallery. That's what's behind those big gray doors there. And when it's finished, it might look something like this and filled with exhibits. The next space we're going to take a look at is over on the left side of the building. It's the Early Childhood Gallery, a space for kids ages 0 to 6 years old. This area is actually set up like a little village theme, and you can see the frames of some of the houses and stores and other things going on in the gallery. Also has an extensive park, which is in this area with the big windows facing the Flint Institute of Arts. So when it's done, the village theme will look a little bit like this. And last but not least, we're going to take a peek back in the office spaces that we have a new office suite being constructed. So these offices are probably one of the most finished areas of the museum because we intend on moving our offices back in here in just a couple of months. So you notice they've got the walls drywalled and primed. They're starting to put cabinets in these spaces that you can see. Kind of some of the office doors and framing and windows are going in, ceiling trusses going in, all of those areas. So those are some of the areas that they're concentrating on trying to finish up so we can move back in. And this is a view from the conference room facing across to the Flint Institute of Arts. I should mention that all of the images of construction that you've been seeing during this presentation were taken during the later part of January in 2021, and we look forward to showing you more of the building as it gets more in a finished state and we start putting the exhibits in coming soon. So thank you very much.